good afternoon, Nigerians, and welcome to another beautiful edition of Editors Forum, a program where we get to bring together journalists, public affairs analysts to sit together and have diverse conversations on key issues going on in the country. My name is Nanwarangi Mazaka, and once again, you are welcome. So quickly, before I introduce the guest I have with me in the studio, we'll just quickly take a look at this report, which of course would also be our very first discussion for today. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the studio. All right, so I have with me here Dr. Yinka Uyebile, who is a seasoned journalist. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you.
And I have Dr. Felix Oloroda, who is a public affairs analyst and a certified protection professional. Thank you so much.
Thank you
For being here. All right, so the long-anticipated cabinet reshuffle happened on Wednesday, and we got to see that 5 ministers were removed and the appointment of 7 new ones were also made. Let's just first get your reactions. Probably let's start with Dr. Felix. Let's get your reactions on it. And which of the minister that was taken out took you by surprise?
Well, okay, because I've had in another forum that, they have increased the number of ministers. I think the ministers have remained 48. Because remember that Betta Edu has been suspended and Lalong resigned. Yes. So that's why we have 7. So we still remain the same 48. Right. So I'm not really surprised because I know Hane had a lot of
women affairs.
Yeah, women affairs had issue with the House of Rep committee, and it was not.
People felt she was doing well.
Yeah, she was everywhere trying to fight for this, for that, but I think that crisis was not well managed.
Okay.
And, maybe, I don't know, but I mean, that is what you can point to.
Okay.
But the new ones, there are not people that, apart from the wife of Emma Dumegoju, who has been ambassador here, minister, director tourism or whatever, appointment under Goodluck Jonathan. So, other people, I'm just hearing their name for the first time, but that does not mean that they will not perform, because until you give some people task and the opportunity, you will not know the stuff they are made of. So they are welcome to the cabinet. Okay. You said, it's still big. 48 cabinet ministers. I think it's not
which
good.
Is something we're going to get to, because people have been talking about cutting down.
Cost of governance.
And it looks like
nothing's been done in that arena at all.
All right, let's have Dr. Yinka come into this. Your reaction?
Yes, I also agree. Somehow, I think I was also taken by a bit of surprise when I saw that the former Women Affairs Minister was listed among those who are to go. Yeah. She has had some public sparks which have painted her in well, depending on which side of the divide you are, which has painted her somehow like the one where she went to a conference and stormed the conference and stopped it midway and all that. A few people or some people felt that was unministerial, that she should have had a way to intervene in that. However, all that is forgotten or forgiven. It has gone into the past. If you look at the way people are viewing it now, they think the reason why she was shown the door was because she had some disagreement with the National Assembly.
Okay. And
I am slightly disposed to that too, because we have a National Assembly that seems to be on every issue on the same page with the presidency, which for me is not what democracy is all about. Yes, we don't want an antagonistic National Assembly, but at the same time, we don't want a lapdog National Assembly. That disagreement she had with the National Assembly must have called this life for her that, look, this woman don't come and rock the boat. Perhaps the presidency felt that the good rapport they have it has enjoyed with the National Assembly, if she is retained or if she was retained, might be shaky, and therefore some school of thought even had it that the leadership of the National Assembly must have gone to the presidency to say that, look, this woman had to go. Be that as it may, well, as we always say, the president has the right to fire and hire. He is the one who worked directly with them. Yes, perception from the public matters, but to the presidency, their performance should be the most important thing. But as we know, in politics, performance is not only what they gauge it. They gauge your political capital, the political capital you can add to the presidency or to your appointment. Exactly. So I think because for me there are several others. I will not mention
also
anyway.
Wanted to mention, aside from women affairs, we also have the human and education.
Well, you see, the education minister, right from the beginning,
okay,
had surprised many of us. As a former vice chancellor, a supposed educationist, because you are working in a university or you are a vice chancellor, don't mean you are an educationist anyway. He was a vice chancellor, and before you know, the flip-flop policy should not be what you will announce just like that. Before you take a decision, especially policy issues, you must carry along the stakeholders. When he wanted to announce the issue of the 10-year admission policy, he should have assembled vice chancellors, the NUC education, and all those things that, look, this is what we want to do. And when you want to do that, you don't make it immediate, because JAM for that year had already been taken, and as student admission was ongoing. So if a child who is 17 or 16 had passed JAM and he did very well and had been admitted, are you now going to say that the parents are no, we are no longer? So I think sometimes when you get to that place and you want to take some decisions, you will always need to look back what backlash will be like. Talk to stakeholders. Let them give you let them advise you that, okay, this is what we want to do. Even if we are going to do it, then you say, okay, let's give 2 years or 3 years or whatever, calculate, so that those who are already inside, I mean, we are in a democracy, for goodness. Laws are no longer retroactive. It is not a law you make and then you backdate. No, it must take effect from that day, and then because some people have already escaped that, we must.
You can't make it retroactive.
Exactly. You cannot say because it is government fault, because the 633 education line that we are following already had that at this age this is where you should be. At this age this is where you should be. But the government has allowed parents to twist the government, and because the government too is not active or very strict on it, that is why we had that happening. So the Minister of Education, well, I'm not sure people will miss him much.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, okay. I think for that kind of policy shift in education, that is not something that the minister alone, that it has to be something that the National Assembly Council, I mean the Council of Ministers, will have to have a conversation that, I mean, like a policy. You know, it's not something that somebody who you have watched this, because even his last appointment before he became minister, people have said that in that school, people that are even less than 16 are admitted, and they have records. Okay? So why will you now come on this national stage and start making that kind of announcement? So I'm sure that's part of whatever led to maybe, because he's a thoroughbred professional in that sector. He's been Council of Legal Education with Director General before he became VC. Okay, so but it's okay. Like he said, I don't think, personally, I think he deserves to, to give way to another person who can have these. You have to involve the critical stakeholder in the education sector. It's not something you are toying with the life. Okay, for those who have finished at what are they going to be doing for the next 2 years? What do you have them do? Are they going to be idle? What is the program? So you are going to shift that body back to the parents. Who should have them? Who rather have them going to higher institutions, which has been a policy that has been going on for I don't know how many years, and you just suddenly, abruptly, I know.
Okay, so still on the ministries that we take out. Were there some ministries you actually expected that, or ministers rather, you actually expected should have been taken out that surprisingly we still have? I can see Dr. Inka smiling.
Well, I believe there are a number of them.
Okay.
But somehow maybe I may not want to just mention names, but there are. But tangentially, perhaps you have a minister who is to superintend over a ministry, and is, rather than tackle the issue, is helping the sector is going to supervise to give reasons why their services is poor. You have to do this. You have to. No, that means I think some of the ministers don't really understand what they are there to do. You are a minister. Your business is not to give reasons for a service provider. Okay, let me give an example now. If Nigerians are complaining that data is expensive, or you make a call and you can link up and they are cutting your airtime and all that. Then the minister will come out and say that the real problem is because this is it. It's not the minister's business, because it's the company's business to defend themselves. But if you have a minister who comes out and is trying to defend the sector is supposed to superintend over, then there's a problem. So there are some of the ministers who are there who you don't even understand, or who don't understand what exactly they are supposed to do. And such ones, as I said earlier, the president, there are some things that is looking at that we outsiders will not see. So maybe that is responsible for such ministers to be retained, but I think there are some of them that should just go home and relax and find something else to do.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
All right. So some concerns have come up on the fact that that 4 ministers from Ogun State. 4? Yes. And there were opinions that it fell short of the federal character criteria for appointment. So how do you react to this?
No, I think,
do you really feel that it's necessary to look at it from that angle, or probably just look at it based on the performance of the ministers?
Well, I've not actually taken that closer look to know that 4 of them out of 48 are from Ogun State. But what I know that is entirely without concern is that a state must have a minister to be represented on the Executive Council. So I think, everybody seems to agree that we don't even need a 48. Okay? So that means we don't even need 4 from one state. Okay? So because I am for a leaner, kind of structure that we can reference from other parts of the world that is working. We don't need that large number. And we are still praying that the president will see to that, to know that, look, if you are talking of economy is bad, then we should have a structure that is fit to fly, not that large number. And so, because you cannot even keep record, I can't keep track of how many of those ministers that I know. Honestly speaking, maybe those manage critical sector like power, education, defense, and all of that. So, but when it comes to their number, in fact, some of them that were the other leader were moved apart from. I don't even know he was on that cabinet. I don't think I saw that name for the, you know. So that is to say that what we need is to appeal to our president or to people who are working with him and all of that. That look, what Nigerians are saying is that we cut down the cost of governance, and that should start from the cabinet.
Okay, so speaking of cutting down the cost of governance, of course, we know that the president has already taken, some steps towards that.
Yes.
And like you said, people are also expecting that part of the steps they would take is to also reduce the numbers of the ministers. But we tend to see that for now,
that is not working.
That is not working. But we've also seen the president, cut down on some other things.
Yes.
Mr. Yinka wants to say something. Let's just let
well,
it out.
let me first of all tackle the issue of the 4 ministers from Ogun State.
Yes.
Yes, I don't know whether the Constitution says there must be a minister from each state. Whether the Constitution now specifies that there mustn't be more than so number from each state, I don't know. I've not read the Constitution up to that point. However, I am a bit hesitant to take the president on that. The reason why I'm a bit hesitant is this. One of 4 ministers from Ogun State, Mr. Wale Edun,
Yes.
the Minister of Finance and coordinating what
The economy.
Yes, he's from Ogun State. But I'm sure you will agree with me, or most people will agree with me, that he's more of a Lagos man than Ogun State man.
Yes, of course.
I am not even sure. I don't know which part of Ogun State he comes from.
Okay.
But I know he's more of a Lagos man than an Ogun State man. So he might have been taken for a Lagos lot, but because he's originally or is from Ogun State, you agree that he's an Ogun State indigent. If perhaps I don't know when last he went to Ogun State. I'm not too close to him, but why am I saying all this? I'm not. The reason why I'm saying this is also that the president also needs to guard against a situation where we are falling into what has happened in the past. Now, there seems to be not much criticism of what is happening now. If in 2027 or whenever the presidency falls to another region and the same thing is happening, I hope people will not begin to cry and make noise. Why it be that under President Jonathan or Buhari, that Buhari has 4 ministers from Katsina State, or Jonathan had 4 ministers from Bayelsa State, what will have happened? So it is, for me, we should not be setting precedent that when any other person comes in, people will now say that, oh, because it was your man or whatever, you weren't kicking against it then. And that is the problem I am seeing happening here. That the president might be looking at the competence of all these 4 people, Wale Edun, Salako, and I think 2 others, I've forgotten their names now. But the Constitution says, what the Constitution says is this. Why is it that all these 4 were not from the southeast, or from the south-south, or from the northeast, or the northwest? Why are they from the southwest? Well, when Buhari first came in, they said he will work with people he knows. So Tinubu too is working with the people he knows, or what? I mean, all this, we need to, when we come to it, we must come with clean hand. And I want to see how these people perform. Because at the end of the day, whether it's from the north or from the east or from the west or whatever, or even if they bring somebody from Cameroon or wherever, what Nigerians are interested in is performance. Why is it that we always go for foreign coaches for our football? Why can't we also open our leadership to foreign this and that? Because if you have a local coach today, he messed up, everybody say, go and get a foreign coach. Our leaders are messing up. Should we go for foreign leaders to come and rebrand our country or retool the country? So we should look at performance. Performance should be the yardstick, but also when we are looking at performance, because we are where we are, we should not also be blind to where it come from.
Okay. So still on the whole, yes, the whole steps that we're taking, the president also renamed the Ministry of Niger Delta Development to the Ministry of Regional Development, scrapped the Ministry of Sports Development, and merged Ministries of Tourism and Arts and Culture to become the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism, and the Creative Economy. Do we see this as a step in the right direction?
Well, it's the privilege of the president to do that. But you know that what we have in the scrapping of the sport minister, I think this is not the first time it's happening. Okay. It has happened before. So what we see over time is this policy, somehow.
And again, of course, we spoke about cutting down costs of governance. So probably this is also. I was watching a channel today, earlier this morning, and from Niger Delta, and they said they were not happy because. About it.
But there's nothing the Ministry of Niger Delta will do that the NDDC cannot do. I believe so, because before the Ministry of Niger was created, there have been that development government agency that handle all of that. So what you do by creating it, now that other regions are also agitating for something like that, we have the Northern East Development Commission, Southeast now agitating, so it will be fair not to devote. Okay, we know that they are the source of our major foreign exchange. But that has been there for a very long time. Others are agitating, because before the crude oil or the whatever happens, there have been other sources of foreign exchange in the country from the north. So everyone is agitating now. So it will be better to have that can coordinate all of that. And so NDDC will continue to do what they have to do. It's just having a ministry dedicated that will just be like another, additional administrative, build up and all that. So I think the president is right by trying to restructure, maybe from what he has seen from his privileged position, to make sure that things work better. From what this is 1 year and a half, and 2.5 more years to go. So whatever they have to do to retool, to restructure, I think it's okay. People should understand that those things cannot remain the same the way they are. We have to continue to tinker with those things to be able to make sure that these things work better.
What this tells me is that when an election is over and you have what they usually call transition committee, the transition committee or committees, if you take the one in the States too, it looks as if the committee don't do thorough job, or maybe they did it and the pleasure of the incoming government might decide what to take and not what not to take. The Oronsanye report has already taken care of all this. It has already taken care of all these government agencies, ministries, and all that. Now, Ministry of Regional Development. The Niger Delta people have started protesting that they don't want it. As far as I'm concerned, as he said, what is it that the Ministry of Niger Delta is doing that the DDC is not already doing? So you just have a duplication of roles and efforts, and then you budget for Niger Delta Development Commission, you budget from the ministry and all that. So when they are focused towards doing the same thing happened to the Ministry of Tourism. Why do you have a Ministry of Tourism different from creative economy? I'm an artist. I love art. Art is tourism. Tourism is art. So why do you need to separate? Because, look, there is a very, very thin line, if any, that separates tourism and art. So you have all of these in the same ministry. All you just need is various desks and departments. The Department of Tourism, Department of this, that. So minister is the overall coordinating. So there's no need to have a Ministry of Tourism different, a Ministry of Arts, even the Ministry of Sport. As far as I'm okay, all these years we have been having the Ministry of Sport. What have we gained? Has that made us to win the World Cup? Has it given us extra slots in CAF or whatever? So the issue is we always like to create ministry, everything we do in Nigeria, and the largest economy in Africa, the largest, what's the latest one? The largest refinery in the world. Yet Nigeria is not having fuel. You always want to have the largest, and at the end of the day, you. So why don't you have a small thing that is efficient? So the ministry that have been merged, I think I like them.
Okay.
And in fact, more should also be merged because, I mean, in the US, what we have as ministers, they call them secretaries.
Yes.
They have just 12. And the size of US is more than the size of Nigeria. I've said it on this program before. In one part, US has about 5 time zones.
Yeah.
12 midnight in one place is morning in another. And so how do they coordinate it? So we in Kaurana Moda, it is one when it is 1 year. In Port Harcourt, it's the same. In Lagos, everywhere we have the same time zone. So why should we have 48 ministries when the US, with over 300 million, or what's their population now?
About 350 million people.
Have, and a larger land space,
yes,
have just 12. So why should we? It doesn't make it more efficient. It is not how big or how large your team is. In fact, when you have a large team, it's even, I mean, okay, now the president has 48 ministers. That's more than an average class if we are to follow the United Nations education. A class will not be more than 30 students. So you have 48 people in and to relate 48 people, I mean, is what we should focus on. And I want to especially appeal to the Niger Delta people who are agitating that. Look, if they sit down and think, what is the thing that the Niger Delta Ministry has done that they think I mean, it's just a matter of nomenclature. Niger Ministry of Regional Development. Yes. I think perfect. All those development commission and whatever, let them be under it, and then the minister will coordinate. Yeah. We don't have to be having. It's not. Any NDDC has not been scrapped. No. Yeah. So it's still there.
Yes,
so
it's still very much
I think maybe that. The president is working on cutting down on the cost of governance, as we said, but you also see that with this now, the new ministers that are coming in will also have their aides. Anyway, the ones that are gone will drop their aides, so except those who are coming from the ministry. So, well, the other directive, okay, when we talk about issue of cutting costs now, that ministers should not have more than 3 vehicles in their convoy and all that. I think that's good. And also we hope the president too, when he visits, he will also cut down on his own convoy. Because this idea that the convoy is long, not that they are government official, but maybe party supporters and so on, does not hold water. Because look, in Nigeria, people like you to do as I say, not
by example.
You live by example. I remember when we were growing up in the north, Fulani of that time. Anything you are offering, you are selling something, you are selling a medicine, and you say, this medicine is good for your eye. If you take it, your eye will see clearly. The question he will ask you is, have you used it before? If you say yes.
Did it work for you?
Did it work for you? If you say yes,
okay,
he will buy it. But if you say, oh no, well, my brother has used this, and no, he will not. So that's the way we should do. People should live by example. When you say we should cut costs, when government is holding conference or holding anything, we should see that in what is happening around the place. I mean, so without that, people will just think that, well, they are just saying it, they are not practicing it.